Still struggling with low energy and weaker erections? It might be missing nutrients. And no, we're not talking about some obscure superfood or a pricey new supplement stack. We're talking about three essential vitamins your body used to absorb effortlessly, but now, in your 60s or beyond, your system may be quietly falling behind. The result? You're left feeling drained, your circulation slows down, and intimacy, well, let's just say it's not what it used to be. Here's the truth most men never hear. What you're dealing with might not just be getting older. It could be a silent deficiency, something simple, correctable, and shockingly common. You see, the body's ability to absorb certain nutrients declines with age. Add in years of a standard diet and maybe a few medications, and suddenly, your blood vessels aren't relaxing the way they should. Your nerves aren't firing as sharply. And your stamina, both in daily life and behind closed doors, starts to fade. But here's the good news. There's a reason you're hearing this now. Because for many men, especially those over 60, understanding what's missing can mean the difference between frustration and confidence, fatigue and vitality, decline and renewal. And it all starts with knowing what your body is asking for before it shouts. So if you've been chalking up those off days to aging, if your energy's low, your circulation feels sluggish, or intimacy has lost its spark, don't ignore it. There's a real, biological reason behind it, and it might be simpler than you think. Let's take a closer look at what your body could be missing and how to start giving it back. It usually starts subtly. You notice your feet get colder than they used to, even in warmer months. Maybe your legs cramp up during a short walk, or your hands tingle a bit at night. And then there's the harder to talk about stuff, like weaker erections or a longer recovery time after intimacy. Most men over 60 experience at least one of these symptoms, but they rarely connect the dots. Instead, they write it off as just aging. But here's the kicker, many of these issues are early signs of poor blood circulation. And while reduced blood flow is a natural concern with age, the underlying cause is often overlooked: nutrient depletion. Not a total deficiency, but a steady decline in key vitamins your body once absorbed with ease. Vitamin D, for example, plays a major role in maintaining healthy blood vessels. Without enough of it, your arteries can stiffen, restricting the flow that's essential for sexual performance and overall vitality. Vitamin B12 supports nerve function and helps your body produce red blood cells, the very things responsible for oxygen and energy delivery. And vitamin E? It keeps blood vessels elastic and flexible, helping blood flow where it's needed most. When your body starts running low on these, the symptoms show up quietly. Less stamina, more fatigue, a weaker pulse in both your step and your intimacy. And because these signs creep in slowly, they often get ignored until something more serious happens, like chronic fatigue or a sudden drop in libido. But ignoring these signs doesn't make them go away. It allows them to build. And the longer they go unaddressed, the more damage they can do, not just to your performance, but to your heart, your brain, and your quality of life. So if you're seeing these early signals, your body is trying to tell you something. The question is, are you ready to listen? Let's break this down. At the core of healthy sexual function and good circulation is one simple concept: blood flow. Erections, stamina, even your ability to feel energized throughout the day, all of it hinges on your body's ability to move oxygen-rich blood efficiently. And that's where these three vitamins come in. They're not magic. They're not hype. They're biological necessities that support the system's aging tends to wear down. Vitamin D is often called the sunshine vitamin, but it does far more than support your bones. It actually helps regulate nitric oxide, a compound your blood vessels need to relax and expand. Without enough vitamin D, your vessels tighten, your circulation slows, and the ability to maintain a firm erection becomes compromised. That's why studies have linked low D levels directly to erectile dysfunction and even heart disease. Then there's vitamin B12. This one's critical for your nerves and your blood. It helps your body produce healthy red blood cells, the ones responsible for transporting oxygen to muscles and organs, including the brain and the pelvic region. B12 also keeps your nerves firing properly, so when arousal happens, the message gets through. But here's the problem. Your body absorbs B12 less effectively with age, especially if you take antacids or have gut issues, which many older men do. Lastly, vitamin E. This powerful antioxidant protects your blood vessels from oxidative stress, essentially the wear and tear that causes them to stiffen and clog. It also supports overall cardiovascular health, which is directly tied to sexual function. Healthy vessels mean better blood flow, better stamina, and a stronger, more responsive body. In short, these three vitamins work behind the scenes, supporting everything from your heartbeat to your performance in the bedroom. And when levels drop, the systems they support begin to slow down, sending out signs that something needs attention. The good news? You can absolutely do something about it. Here's the part that surprises most men. You could be experiencing all the signs: fatigue, weaker erections, sluggish circulation, and still be told by your doctor that everything looks fine. That's because traditional checkups don't always include testing for vitamin D, B12, or E unless there's a specific reason. So the deficiencies slip under the radar, quietly draining your vitality while you assume it's just the calendar catching up with you. And that assumption carries real consequences. Over time, poor circulation doesn't just affect intimacy, it impacts heart health, brain function, and mobility. Low B12 can lead to memory problems and even nerve damage. Low vitamin D has been linked to depression and immune decline. And a long-term shortage of vitamin E may raise your risk of cardiovascular issues. These aren't small inconveniences, they're signals your body is struggling to stay balanced. Ignoring these gaps allows them to widen. And the longer they go unaddressed, the harder it becomes to reverse the damage. It's not just about sex, it's about your quality of life, your independence, your ability to show up fully each day. And here's the other trap: thinking you'll be fine because you eat pretty healthy or take a multivitamin. The truth is, age changes how your body absorbs nutrients. Even with a good diet, you might not be getting or keeping what you need. B12 absorption declines with age. Vitamin D depends heavily on sun exposure, which many older adults lack. And vitamin E is harder to get in sufficient amounts from food alone, especially with today's processed diets. So when men ignore the early signs or dismiss their fatigue as normal, they risk letting a preventable issue snowball into something much harder to manage. The cost of waiting is high, but with the right action, the turnaround can be surprisingly fast. Here's the empowering part. If you suspect your body's running low on these essential vitamins, there's a smart, simple path forward. It starts with awareness and continues with action. No guesswork, no gimmicks. Just clear steps you can take to support your health from the inside out. First, ask your doctor to run specific blood tests. Don't settle for vague answers or general checkups. Request a 25-hydroxy vitamin D test, a serum B12 level, and a vitamin E panel if available. These are quick, routine labs that can reveal if you're operating at a deficiency or even just below optimal. And catching even a mild shortfall early can make a world of difference. Once you know your levels, optimizing your intake becomes much easier. For vitamin D, many men benefit from a daily supplement, often in the range of 1,000 to 2,000 IU, though some need more depending on their baseline. For B12, a sublingual supplement, under the tongue, or even an injection may be needed, especially if absorption is poor. And for vitamin E, focus on mixed tocopherols, not just the synthetic version in basic multivitamins. You'll find them in quality supplements or through foods like almonds, sunflower seeds, and leafy greens. But, and this is key, more isn't always better. Over-supplementing, especially with fat-soluble vitamins like D and E, can be harmful. Too much vitamin D can lead to calcium buildup in the blood. High doses of E can interfere with blood thinners or increase bleeding risk. So always check your levels first, and if you're on medications, talk to your provider before starting anything new. When done right, proper supplementation supports better blood flow, firmer erections, more consistent energy, and even mental clarity. It's not about chasing youth. It's about giving your body the nutrients it needs to work the way it's designed to. Imagine waking up with energy that lasts, walking without the usual heaviness in your legs, feeling confident, not just physically, but intimately, with no second guessing. That kind of change doesn't come from wishful thinking. It starts with understanding what your body truly needs and finally giving it the right tools to work with. And the best part? You don't need to overhaul your life to see results. Small, specific steps, like checking your vitamin levels, can open the door to a very different experience of aging. Because here's the truth most men don't hear enough: slowing down isn't inevitable. Yes, the body changes after 60, but that doesn't mean your drive, strength, or vitality have to disappear. When you restore what's been missing, especially something as foundational as vitamin D, B12, or E, you create the conditions for everything else to improve naturally. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about supporting your system in a way that's smart, respectful, and sustainable. It's about owning your health, not surrendering it to age or assumptions. Every man's situation is unique, but the principle holds. When you understand what's really happening inside your body, you can make choices that bring back clarity, stamina, and connection. And if you've been feeling off, like your spark's just not there, let this be a reminder. It's not too late. You haven't missed your chance. You still have time, options, and real power to feel like yourself again. Or maybe even better than you've felt in years. Start with awareness. Get the facts. Make informed, manageable choices. This isn't just about vitamins. It's about reclaiming the parts of life that matter most. You deserve to enjoy your years fully, with energy, strength, and confidence in your corner. So if you've been living with low energy, weaker erections, or a sense that something inside just isn't clicking the way it used to, don't brush it off. Your body could be trying to tell you something. And more importantly, it might be something you can actually fix. Not with extreme diets, not with complicated routines, but with a clear understanding of what's missing and a few focused steps to restore it. Think about that for a moment. What if this chapter of your life isn't about decline, but about renewal? What if the fatigue, the drop in drive, the changes in your body aren't the end of the story, but simply a signal? A message that your system needs support and that you have the power to provide it? These three vitamins, D, B12, and E, aren't miracle pills. They're fundamental building blocks. They help your blood flow freely, your nerves fire smoothly, your energy stay steady. And when you're running low, everything feels just a little harder. But when you restore what's missing, the shift can be profound. So here's your next move. Talk to your doctor. Ask for those simple tests. Find out where you stand. Because clarity is power. And from there, you can take steps that are not only smart, but deeply effective. You don't have to keep guessing. You don't have to keep settling. And you definitely don't have to go it alone. Start the conversation. Advocate for your own health. And give yourself the chance to feel strong, connected, and alive again. You got more life to live. Let's make sure your body's ready for it, starting now.